Just a few fellas on a podcast, ripping in the pitching jokes and sharing some laughs. Rob Ryan, Brett Rudd, Jerry Bernstein. Ooh, they want to know if it's something, if it's anything. Often featuring Leedy Corbin.
Before last weekend, I was just sort of like getting ready for this month of activity that I'm currently at the very beginning of. And so I'm excited. You know, I got visiting my mom. I got going on tour.
You had your party this weekend?
Had a party on Saturday. It was dope as hell.
That was dope as hell.
I can't wait to tell Rob the story of the Chromeo story.
Oh, me too. I was laughing at it. I played Chromeo while we were going to my brother's yesterday, and for Leedy and I was like, this is the band.
Chromeo, that sounds awesome. I don't know what that is.
What was the last time you did that, Rob? You're like, oh, that sounds great. What is that?
yeah. I forget what it was, but I was asked to do something, and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing.
I'd love to do that.
Absolutely.
As soon as I find out what it
is. Yeah. So when we have been on the road together, all of us have been on the road together, there's been this vibe that I've gotten from being in certain hotels. And it's a vibe where I'm just like, oh man, if we had the day off, I would love to do drugs here. You know, it's weird. And it has something to do with like how nice the hotel is and also how secluded the hotel is. Like, I think the number one hotel that I felt that at was we were in somewhere in Jersey, some remote area of Jersey. And there was a hurricane that was barreling towards the East Coast. Steve had to last minute change a bunch of dates. And so he was like, all right, no show tonight, but you guys got a couple of days off. We're really close to New York. So if you want to go back to New York, you can go back to New York. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I do want to go back to New York because I love my fiance. I don't want to see her. But goddamn, would I love to just stay in this hotel during a hurricane and do drugs? Oh my God, that'd be so much fun. Just based on this vibe, I decided to do a little experiment. And I was like, what if I got for my birthday, I got like a hotel room and just like invited some friends and we just hung out in the hotel and did drugs. That sounds like a fun thing, you know? There's all these pitfalls to just like having people over to do drugs, like to your house. Like, do I have enough stuff is there enough room? Is it going to be comfortable enough for everybody? Is there going to be enough room for activities and whatnot? And so I decided to implement this idea this past weekend because today's my birthday.
What?
And so it was like, yeah, I know.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
I didn't know I was missing a birthday thing.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Well, the thing was, I also didn't want to pressure anybody to go, so I didn't say it was my birthday party. I said it's a thing that we're
horrible mistake.
It's a thing that we're doing, you know.
Man,
I will say, I think it was a massive success. You know, there were like little things that I would change, but on the whole, it was fun as shit. So 2 thumbs up to my plan.
Yeah, you nailed it. That was like the perfect. They got like a really swanky hotel where were looking at. It was right in Dumbo on the corner of right on the coast, and you could just see the Hudson, and there's just big windows and everything. Looked like it was made by like a cats. Sounds
like the cats are construction workers. I hear.
It was made by like swanky cavemen, like everything's like looks like it was made out of a dinosaur, and there's like fur rugs and
there was a hammock,
greenery everywhere.
There was a hammock in the room.
It was a hammock. It was a hammock right in the corner of the hotel where you could just a one person hammock. You could just look at this huge glass view of it was just beautiful. It would be great even if you weren't doing drugs, and but perfect for drugs.
I can attest as someone who did not do drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
It was great.
There were people who didn't do drugs who had fun and people who did do drugs that had fun. It was great. So we had like a nice little group. We're all just sort of like hanging out, having fun. I'm DJing, you know, I got a little music playing. And a couple of people are like, Jarret, I like your mixes when you DJ. And Brett goes, you know, Jarret, yeah, you got good taste in music. You actually turned me on to a band. And I was like, yeah, Future Islands, right? And then Brett goes, there was another one. And I was like, no, that wasn't me. And Brett's face, I showed pain up here and happiness down here. It was just like, because he was so surprised that I just said no with so little information.
Yes, that was it. Yeah. You went, yeah, Freezer Island, and I went, and didn't you? And you went, no. I was like, but I didn't even get to. I was like, crying so hard.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even get to put one. How did you? There's no way you know what I was like.
What you're gonna say. I know exactly what band you're talking about, and I know that I did not recommend that band to you.
So eventually, through pained, laughing tears, I said, okay, if you know what the band was, then describe the band that I was gonna say. And he was like, they're funky, they're kind of future, and I was like, yeah, he's right.
Overall, excellent experience, and now I got visiting my mom, I got going on tour, and then that's gonna be the next month of my life.
There was a moment also when Leedy came back from getting somebody with the room key. She went down to get them because you needed it for the elevator. Wood chip keys, by the way. They're just round wood, and they had been programmed. It was very, very swanky. But anyways, so she goes downstairs. We're having a conversation about, I don't know what we were having a conversation about, but whatever the last thing we said, Leedy just picked up on it when she came back in, and she was like, everybody's a pizza boy when Brett's involved. Just like repeated what was said. She came stomping it. It was the best entrance I've ever seen. It was a blast, and I can't wait to do it again.
And Rob, you were missed.
Oh,
you were missed.
Yeah,
Rob,
sorry.
Would have been a wonderful addition.
Yeah, I used my phone while on mushrooms. That's how much I
That
missed
was
you.
great. That was really cool. Did you guys? I mean, do you guys like crash there, stay overnight? Like, what was the situation?
Well, luckily Jarret planned everything out. By the way, my detective work on what Jarrett's plan was and what we were gonna do was flawless, right, Leedy? Like, because you were very vague. You're just like, be at our place at 1:30, and we're gonna do drugs, and that
which I hate. So I was just like, what are you saying? What are you talking about? And he's like, just come to my place. I'm like, what?
No, that is not what happened.
And there's a
not
boat.
what happened.
And I was like, what the fuck do you mean there's a boat? Can you tell me? I asked him 3 times what the hotel was. He's like, yeah, we're going to a hotel. I'm like, yeah, where's the hotel? He's like, well, come to my place. I'm like, yeah, where's the hotel? He's like, you know what? We're going to get on a boat first. And I'm like, we're getting on a boat? Where the fuck is the hotel, man? It's like, I might have shit to do, so I just want to meet you there. I know that this hotel is not inaccessible unless by boat. This isn't. And I asked him, I was like, are we being hunted? Are we going to?
Well, I was able to infer.
I'm going to put all the messages that I put that said exactly what was going on. Because I was equally enraged when I got the question, what are we doing again? Because I was like, I told you guys. I told this to you. I explained it already.
Okay, so I inferred that Jarret didn't say that it was his birthday party because he didn't want there to be pressure. I was correct on that. I also inferred that he was vague because he was going to have everything taken care of, so you didn't need to know anything. He was like, I'm going to buy the boat tickets. We're all going to get on the boat. I'm going to be in charge. Nobody has to think about anything. You just have to come along. I'm going to make sure everybody's experience is good. Because I know Jarret is a good host because I went to Kirsten's birthday party, and it was a similar situation. They're both very good hosts. And so I was like, I think he's being vague because we're going to have a great time, and then we're just going to find out. It's going to be like an adventure. But you also didn't say, like, hey, I'm not getting too much details. You just have to trust everything's going to be okay. Whatever you need to do, I will be able to work around, and everything will be taken care of as long as you can block off so many hours. But you did leave out like some important details, like where you live. And stuff like that.
You know what? That's fair.
I enjoyed not knowing though, because it was a lovely surprise.
It was great.
I've been wanting to go on a boat since I moved out here, so it was really exciting.
Yeah, there's a boat that goes right from my apartment to the fancy hotel. And so I was like, it would be insane if we were to take drugs and then not take a boat.
That sounds cool.
Given the opportunity. So,
although they kicked in like right after the boat, I feel like.
Yeah, that's another fair. That was the thing. So you guys say I was being vague. I wasn't being vague. There were things that I was unsure about that I needed to wait to figure out. For example, I really wanted to get into the hotel early, but check-in was at 4:00, and I was like, I don't love starting at 4:00. So I was like, okay, what if we take the drugs at my place, get on a boat, go to the hotel, and then maybe if we're nice, they'll let us in at like 3:00 or something like that. So a lot of details had to wait until I got that information, which just so happened to be on Saturday in the afternoon. But there were other things that I know I told you guys about that I was then asked about where I was like, I fucking told you about this already.
I think in the first text, but I think the first text you sent was a while ago. It had information of what we were doing vaguely, and then the hotel. I think you did include that, at least to the text to Leedy and I. But it was a long time ago, and I feel like because of COVID, like there's been like the spike in January and February, there has been like a weird fluctuation of like, hey, we're doing this. Oh, we might not do this. Oh, we're doing this again, you know?
I'm going to push back on this, Jarret, still.
Ooh.
You just saying we're going to do drugs is not telling us what we're going to do. Like, that's not... What I mean by that is, where am I sleeping? You just said hotel. Are we staying in the hotel?
You know what?
Don't get it.
Criticism accepted, because when hotel comes into play, it's like, am I staying at the hotel? Is this an orgy? There's a lot of things that I may want to have input on, you know? And so there I probably could have been a little bit more forthcoming, because I did not want people to think that it was an orgy, and I did not want people to stay over. The hotel for the evening was just going to be me in person. That's why we were starting so early in the day.
Okay.
And Leedy and I were the last people to leave. They did offer us to stay over, so it could have been both an orgy and us staying at the hotel.
That's very gracious of you as a host to offer an orgy.
Especially because Kirsten went like this when she said it.
I don't want to be rude. So if you want an orgy, but if not,
we can get you guys a cab. We can get you an orgy. It's completely up to you.
At one point, Jarret found this rock that I guess it was for like a do not disturb.
This
but
is
on
like
one
how
side,
hip this hotel was. This is like an example of it.
Just a rock that says now on one side, and Jarrett's holding it like this, and he goes, "Hey, do you guys want to know what the other side? It says now here. You want to know what the other side is? You want everybody guess what the other side is?" And I was like, "Is it your dick? Because that's the face you're making." Because he was like, "You want to know what's on the other side?" But it was not now, was the other side.
Since it was Jarret, I thought it was now this.
Oh, is that
progressive?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you got there before me, Brett. I guess I just watched so much progressive media that I got lost in the sauce.
Right. Well, and that one really annoys me too.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It's like a weird video. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, now this. I'm like, oh yeah.
First few times I saw it, I was like, great. Then I was like, you're just drawing out a 3-sentence, blurb into a 4-minute video and playing music, and it's just about how a dog got its hair cut. It's like I just have been watching this for so long.
What is this?
It's like these progressive things where they'll be like, it'll tell you like a news event or something like that, or sometimes a heartwarming story, but it's usually progressive based, and it's just like a lot of B-roll and then some text and then some music and then more B-roll, and it's like Trump is coming down on people, bomb, 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 bomb. But people are fighting back, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound real. This sounds insane.
It's
They're
great.
almost like
I like
inspirational,
Yeah.
They got a lot of information out there. It was interesting. So I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about the dynamic of the people on the show. And I'm like, it's a little bit like releasing a video game, Like you have people like Brett and Leedy who I'm like, here's a video game, and they play the video game and they're like, this video game is great. And they got people like Rob who try to break the video game. And I'm like, now I know the things I need to tell people in the future if I ever want to do this again. Because now I've heard all of Rob's concerns now. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, these are the holes in the plan. These are the reasons why things fell through the cracks here.
If this was rolling out the beta test phase, then I can't wait to see the full release because it was fantastic. 2 thumbs up.
Full release is heroin. Anyways.
Oh no, never mind. I think I'll stick with the beta.
No, I am sad that I missed it. I kept on getting my schedule with my students kept on changing. They were pushing things back, and I was far away too. So by the time I was done, I've also been cutting back on my caffeine, and so I've just been like one headache after another all week long. And so it was like going on. Brett texted me, and it was going on like 8 o'clock by the time I even got the text. Maybe it was going on 7. It was one of those, and I was not even in New York City yet. And I was like, And then the one thing, see, I take little bits of information and I extrapolate either. And sometimes I am amazing at guessing things right, and then sometimes I'm way off base. But when I'm given little information, I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing for my brain. Like all the possibilities are there. I'm not normal. Like when Jarret said we're taking a boat, I was like, what the fuck? I think now where are we going? Like, is this a real hotel? What's going on? But then the biggest determining factor for me was Jarret just saying we might be pooped by 6 or so. And I was like, oh, well, I can't do this at all. Like, I was like, oh, I might get there 6, 7, like 7 is 7 because a friend might come at 7, but we might be pooped at it. And I was like, oh shit, well, I'm done. I can't. I felt bad. I was like, I don't want to come late to a drug party. And I think I made this joke too. I was like, there are certain drugs that you can't catch up on. Like it's you missed everybody else's high. You're gonna be high when they're not. Like
yeah. And also, I know that with the people involved, like nobody's going to be taking so much drugs where it's like, that's not fun to be around that person. We all took like a very small amount to the point where like we had a couple sober people and just a great time playing games together and just like still good conversation. I say that as one of the people on drugs, but Leedy being completely sober there, she was having a blast.
Great conversation, erudite, referencing classical literature.
It was. Leedy comes in, bread's a pizza, man. Everyone's like, what the fuck is this? She's the funniest one on the planet.
Oh my god! Oh, did you guys see what Leedy did? Oh my god! All right. Well, now I know for next time. Now I know the information that Rob needs in order to get on board. All right. This is good.
Well. Here's the thing too. This party also shapes. Oh, and I didn't know it was your birthday too. That makes me sad. This is good, positive affirmation that Jarret is just someone that this is how he. So I'm learning too. So like if next time Jarret just says be here at this place and this time, like. Then I should
it's all you can trust that it's all yeah. But I will say if I had not
you
gone
guys
to
are gonna be so easy to murder later. Meet me at this alley. Oh wow, I bet it's like an underground bar or something. It's gonna be so cool. Nope.
If I had not gone to Kirsten's birthday party already, I would have been in the exact same position as Rob, where I would have been like, "What? No." A boat? I would have been the exact same. But because I was like, "Oh, I've seen how you guys have like a get together and everything is thought of you're not going to let anybody have an uncomfortable time or feel they're there out of obligation. You want everybody to be there to have a good time and trust that everything is taken care of. So I had that level of trust from that.
So anyways, what's going on with you guys?
Is it really your birthday today, by the way?
My birthday today, March 22nd.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that happy birthday to everybody equally who has birthdays out there. Jarret, I don't want to single anybody out. Happy holidays, everybody.
I respect that, Rob.
Happy holidays.
Now this.
I don't think I have any big catch-ups.
I don't know. Our cats are warming up to us, but one of them is really obsessed with me, and it's making me really happy.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like I've seen cats who they like some people a little bit more than others, but this is like a weird obsession with Leedy. Like this cat is really he's like he's like really he's a normal cat. Like he's a bit skittish and he's standoffish and then he'll warm up. But when Leedy calls or looks at him, no matter where he is in the apartment, no matter what he's doing, he comes like running. He's like so excited for attention from her.
That's so cute.
So
he'll like
freaking cute.
Follow her to the bathroom and just wait outside the door for her. But I really see the juxtaposition until she's awake. Like if I get up early, he's just like, "Yeah, I'm a cat," and then Leedy wakes up and he's like,
It's so cute. He'll come follow me to the kitchen while I'm making food and just sit behind me. It's so cute.
Anything pissing you off these days, Rob? You got any hot buttons?
What's the hot bucket, man?
Anything pushing your buttons?
I had two things. One thing that pissed me off, and another thing that...
Vague party plans.
So I missed an event recently. So I was on TikTok earlier, and I saw this girl who must be a math teacher because she used audio of a Louis C.K. canceled joke where... he talks about being like a math teacher, like what that entails. And the joke just basically is like an interview back and forth. It's like, so what's the job? Like, well, you have to teach math to kids. Oh, and do these kids want to know math? No, they definitely don't want to know math. You have to teach it to them against their will. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, and they're just exploding with sexuality and they're constantly kicking the shit out of each other. Well, who are these kids? Just any kids who live around the building. I don't know. And, how much does it pay? It pays $100 every 4 years. And you're like, what happens if you get really good at it? Nothing. You just do it. Nobody notices. Nobody cares. And you die alone. Something along those lines. Now, she is lip syncing this the whole time, going back and forth with two characters. She took some time to learn it, blah, blah, blah. It's got a bunch of likes.
Can you see her jerking off?
It's in the... No, I can't. So she didn't really nail it.
Okay.
So she's got like
jerking.
400,000 likes on this, okay? Yeah. And then I'm like, let's take a look at these comments. Let's see, who has what to say about what, right? I wonder if she even knows who it is. I'm willing to bet she doesn't. And then the creator has the top post, which says, here to add that I did not know which comedian this bit was from when I made it. I do not support this man or his actions in any way. Carry on emoji. That goes like this. By the way, she is... And then there's a thread, of course, of people being like, some being like, yeah, screw him. And then others being like, well, it's one of the, best comics ever and blah blah blah, like just like weird defenses and weird arguments, and then she replies to a lot of these being like fuck you, like just like being angry at them anytime that there's anything pushing back, and some of these arguments that these people are making are definitely bad. And I was surprised that no one made the most obvious one. I was like, you just said, I do not support this man in any way. I'm like, you are obviously supporting this man by sharing the one thing that he treasures, which is his comedy. And 400,000 people have just listened to it. And I was just like, okay, delete it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely. You don't have morals in this situation. And then she got into I couldn't believe this. There's a comment being like, well, I think we can separate the art from the artist. And she said, no, you cannot. And I was like, you are 100% quite literally separating the art from the artist. You have posted the man's art and then you are saying, I do not like the artist. You are definitely doing at least that. I don't get what's going on. And then it was like, people like, you're taking his, audio. And then she's like, everyone takes audio from TikTok. That doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, but people credit it, or there's, you can click on the link. So people kind of do that. Like, you're not even crediting, you're even denouncing who he's like, no. And then someone said something else and they were like,
I wish Louis CK's defense was everybody abuses power dynamics, okay? When they have power.
Everybody jerks off in front of those comics.
And then the last thing I said that she said that I thought was logically weird was then someone had made some comment about whatever, and she's like, well, you just like, look, I think 400,000 people disagree with you. You just don't like that I'm funny. And I was like, I don't know if I don't know if you lip syncing to someone else's stand-up material makes you funny. I was like, look, there is a performance element to it that not everybody can do. And you kind of did okay with that. Like, I don't want to, it's fine. I was like, but you're lip syncing to somebody's stand-up. So I don't know if that makes you fun. You may be funny. Maybe you are funny. I'm not saying you're not funny. But that's not what makes you funny. It could make you a decent performer to do that, the lip syncing thing. But just every little logical thing, I was like, no. Look, if you really want to stand by your guns, which I don't personally, my take is, I don't know, to each their own. But if you're taking that stance, delete it. Get rid of those 400,000 likes.
Absolutely.
It's not your likes.
I'm with you. I wasn't with you for a little while, but then I was with you. And I'll tell you why. Because it's a very, like you said, it's a very murky area. It's a very murky gray area of, I don't support Louis C.K. I don't like what he did, but I'm in this position right now where I've used his audio to make a thing that's really successful. So I'm going to live in this uncomfortable gray moral area and just sort of like, and collect my likes and have this be part of my channel for the moment. Use a little bit of that heat. Tell everybody that I don't support Louis C.K. and that I don't like him, but still use some of that heat. But then when people are saying like, well, I guess you can separate the art from the artist. No, you can't. Then I'm like, okay, well, you can't start making rules if you want to live in the murky place to take the good thing from the bad thing. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's 100% to me. It's like, this is a person who, if you were just like, whatever you incentivize will be their opinion. If you were like, hey, Louis C.K. actually wants to get lunch with you and give you $20,000, this person would be like, Louis C.K. is great. I actually think he's not a bad guy. You guys are wrong, because you're still benefiting from him, but trying to do this. It's just I am. My craw has something stuck in it with you, Rob. There.
Have your jimmies been wrestled, Brett?
There's been a lot of rustling in my Jimmy area.
Is your bucket a little bit hot?
Ooh, has someone been warming that
Someone's
bucket?
heated my bucket for sure.
No, it's definitely a heated bucket. Is it hot yet?
They must have been warming it very slowly because I didn't notice. I'm like the toad. I'm the frog in the bucket.
Me and the frogs in this bucket are. Is it getting warmer in here?
My gears have been ground down.
Ooh. Great hot button, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Nice and hot. Did you have another one, or was that it?
Yeah, this wasn't as much of a hot button. I was just more curious about your guys' takes. I don't know if you are keeping up with the trans swimmer Leah, this woman who is excellent. I am curious to hear your takes because I don't have solutions to this, but I am curious as to whether the standing situation or standing rules makes the most sense for other female swimmers in her, competing with her. I'm not sure.
It's difficult to keep up with her because she's a very fast swimmer.
But on land.
I am not fully versed in this issue. The information that I have collected suggests that when a person transitions, they lose a lot of the innate physical advantages that a man has in certain sports. And so I am for trans women competing in women's sports because it seems to me as though the field has then been leveled.
My understanding is that depending on when you take HRT, that the fundamental development for foundation of musculoskeletal development is unchangeable, despite many of the advantages that you continue to have being taken away. You have some now ingrained advantages in you if you have gone through puberty with testosterone. But I do not know the details on this, and Leedy retelling me some of this. I think that her take was,
we'll never know. Well, it's unfortunately, it's impossible to know, but I want to hear what you.
her take was.
It wasn't her. It was someone else talking about her.
Oh, okay. So somebody had a take.
I'm so sorry. The pronoun you used, I thought you were talking about Leedy.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. That was the reason I made that joke. It was when you said her, I was like, oh yeah, how will we ever know what Leedy's take on this was?
I was with you, Rob. I knew it was
I apologize. There we go. I'm sorry. Can we get back? Oh no.
Well, I wasn't sure if Brett dipped for a comedic reason.
I just no. So
sorry.
They were saying that people should just be matched, regardless of gender, sex, anything like that, by their skill level. You should only be matched with people that you should be competing against. If there's a way to do that, then I totally agree. There's no reason for there to be a difference between men's league, women's league. If you can compete with the best of human beings, then you should be able to compete with the best of human beings in whatever. But if there is a way to determine that your skill level is matched with somebody else, then you should be competing in those leagues. And all of that should be irrelevant. It should be based off of your individual performance, and that's that. I love that. And that defeats pretty much every issue in this debate.
Whose take was this?
This was another trans athlete.
Basically, what she said was our testosterone levels, 94% of trans women's testosterone levels are the exact same as a cis woman, which is like 0.2 nanomoles or something. I don't remember. But she said we have the same level of testosterone.
From now on, we will refer to this as midichlorians, which I'm fine with.
Midichlorians in our blood. But then the person also asked, so do you think that trans athletes in general have an advantage over cis women athletes? And this woman was like, kind of. And that's the problem. Sometimes we do, but you should take it on a case-by-case basis. We shouldn't be generalizing as much as we are.
I love that she said that. That was going to be the first thing I was going to jump in with after Jarret had said sports. I wanted to say that that's a really unfairly broad topic. And people who are engaged in sports, especially at high levels, I mean, there are very specific rules for specific events, right? When we look at wrestling, when we look at boxing and MMA, we break it down literally by how much you weigh, not just what if you're men or women, but also do you weigh between 165 and 180 pounds. That's how specific that sport gets, because people who have been doing this for decades and generations and centuries go, yeah, if you're 20 pounds heavier than this person, you cannot compete with them. That is just not fair. It doesn't make any sense. But if you have a longer wingspan than them and a longer reach, yeah, well, I guess them's the breaks. That's going to happen. When it comes to tennis, anybody can compete against anybody. There is no breakdown other than, well, we're going to do a men-women breakdown. The men serve like 140 miles per hour and the women serve like, 105 or something like that. Like there's just the strength, the height, whatever. And Serena Williams herself was on a talk show being like, I can't compete with the men. That's insane. Like there's nothing why even push that on me? That's dumb. I'd rank much lower. And this is the best woman in the world who's being like, this is a fact, And so every sport has very different things. Now I want to point out that when it comes to like ultra marathons, women can do rather well, definitely beat men. I think women's surfing is more interesting and cool to watch and when they compete. Women rock climbers can definitely compete alongside with men. There was something else I was trying to think of.
Bones.
Bowling was another one, and then Danica Patrick, race car driving. She's right in there in the mix. Winning events.
It's all from the lighter bones. Everything you've said, where women have the advantage, they got those cat-like hollow bones.
Little baby birds, just
kiting. Where you tie a string around an athlete and you float them up in the air based on the wind. Women dominate kiting.
I think it's an important point to say that, like, of course, there are sports that women are going to either have an edge or at least be competitive with men, and that's great to know. Mm-hmm. And also that sports try to do their best. Like their sports are very important to a lot of people. There's a lot of money in it, a lot of spectators, there's a lot of things. So these are people's futures, and it does worry me only slightly that it's like we want to take it seriously. I don't like when people argue about this in bad faith and don't take sporting seriously enough to be like, this is NCAA. These are women competing for prestige.
I'm not hallucinating. Brett just pulled a stick out of somewhere and walked away.
It's a fishing pole. It's a fishing pole. He's trying to get the cats away.
They think there's fish at the end of that?
It's like, hold on, I hear a fish. A fish that I've been fighting with for decades.
Rob, I agree with you, but also I think the right strong built woman could compete with any man in any sport if she has worked hard enough.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even think what I said discludes that.
Shut up, Brett.
I didn't say anything.
But here's what I was gonna I'm mix all you want. My point being is that if you went to, it's a free for all, everybody's allowed to do whatever they want to do. I mean, that's obviously not going to be fair to so many women out there. And there's not to say that there aren't weak build men and strong built women, and there's going to be a mixture in the middle there. But by and large, across most sports, save for the couple that I mentioned, the best women are going to fall far short of the best men, and that's just stupid. And I think that's just unfair to not be able to showcase and highlight women and the amazing accomplishments that they can do just because they don't rank amongst the top elite athletes of men. So somebody, it's like, I think we made a good decision to be like, we should have leagues that women can compete in so that their talents can be showcased in a specific way. Once we make that decision, then it does become a matter of, we're trying hard to come up with subdivisions that make sense so that people can compete at the best, degrees that they can compete at. I want to speak to Brett's point real quick about
women do have hollow bones. And by the way, that is going to be my argument from now on whenever this comes up, because I'm not sure where I've read a fair amount of abstracts on each side of arguing the athletic advantages of testosterone and non and HRT. but I still am unsure of where I stand on it until I read more. But until then, anytime this comes up, I'm gonna just chime in with, well, women have hollow bones, so it's just not fair.
So they float better.
And men have super heavy appendices. You know.
So on the issue of sport by sport basis, does testosterone alone, solve the issue? Now, I think this is what Leedy, what you were referring to. And I think that in certain sports, testosterone levels, when you level that playing field, that's actually probably a pretty good solution. But every sport's very, very, very different. So when I think about swimming and I look at someone who is 6'3", I don't know how tall she is. She's very tall. And I think about wingspan, and I think about just literal water displacement. Just the physics of water displacement alone, I mean, that's what made Michael Phelps a phenom, and it's what's probably going to make her pretty dominant as well. So as kind of Brett put it, once that growth spurt has happened, once that bone structure and body mass has been sort of set, it doesn't matter if you pull back on the testosterone at that point. There's going to be this undeniable thing. I want to make one more point too. A friend of mine was a preemie, he was a premature whatever, and then they gave him growth hormones. He now has a huge cock, and he's not still taking the hormones, but now he's got a bigger dick than me. What the fuck? That's fucked. Do you not think that's fucked? 9 inches? Who could compete with that?
So, a couple of things about this.
Start with the dick thing.
Start with the dick. Okay, yeah. Generally, we should just ask the athletes what they want, because I think there's way too many armchair assholes involved in this debate. The female athletes that are asked about this are almost universally saying, this is at the very bottom of our urgency list. At the top are being sexually harassed by our trainers, not making as much money as our male counterpart, dealing with sexism in pro leagues, things like that. Additionally, the data that I've seen suggests that the trans women who have been competing aren't, dominating. They're not the number one spot in every single thing. So I think there is that gray area there, agreeing with both of you guys. But here's the thing that really fucking gets my goat. Here's the thing that really fucking heats my bucket, is that 90% of the people arguing about this don't give a shit. What they want is a demagogue. What they want is a group that they know makes certain people uncomfortable, that they can then point at and go, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with that also. You should vote for me because I'll take care of it. This has become an issue that is so stridently argued on the right, they don't give a fuck. They just know this is a marginalized group that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, that they can be like, yeah, you're right. You're right to feel uncomfortable about this, and I will protect you from those things over there, And so, yes, you guys make a lot of really good points. Yes, there is a good discussion around this, but that's not what's going on. It's just this cudgel that the right is using to win elections. And so my hackles tend to get up whenever I hear certain topics where it just basically falls into that bucket where I'm like, I know they don't give a shit. Like, why?
Right.
Yeah. And even just the air that the issue is being given bothers me, where I'm just like, it's just for them. It's just for them.
And to follow the not giving a shit thread, I will say I also don't have any stake in this because I don't care about sports at all, for the exact reason that Rob was saying almost. But when you're like, well, Michael Phelps is just he's that big and has such an advantage just from water displacement. For me, if we're looking at potential, physical potential, animals just kick our asses in everything. Take the best long jumper in the world and take the laziest kangaroo, and it's got us beat by tenfold. They can jump so much farther.
Do you see Fox had a one-off TV show called Man vs. Beast, where they had Joey Chestnut in a food eating contest with a bear. They had, I think, Usain Bolt against a giraffe racing, and they had a judo guy going up against an orangutan or something. And
that sounds really dangerous.
It was, first of all, it was bananas. All right. So Joey Chestnut was eating the hot dogs. The advantage that the humans had over the animals was just that the humans knew they were competing. And so the bear for a little while was just like, and then Joey Chestnut got 5 hot dogs in before the bear was like, oh, hot dogs, done. In 1 second, just shoved them all in his mouth. I think the giraffe fell, and then Usain Bolt won or something like that. But then somebody pointed out, it's if you're the guy wrestling the orangutan, couldn't you just take him by the hand and like lead him out.
That's called a keto.
They tend to be pretty nice, if you're nice to them.
Since my reference didn't land, Aikido is the art form that Steven Seagal kind of, I don't know if he found, but it's using somebody's momentum against them. It's like taking them by the wrist and pushing them, so taking them by the wrist. Okay.
Oh, God, I wish I remembered that. That's an excellent joke.
You also got to talk like this.
I understand what you're saying, but I want to be very clear that like I don't want to skirt the discussion just based on the fact that some people are going to use it to, peddle their bullshit. I can probably end every argument by being like, yeah, but some people just take that and try to peddle their bullshit. I'm like, that's not, that does not take away from the realness and potential importance of this issue, because it's as far as her dominance as in the NCAA currently, it is significant. I mean, she's beating people by 38 seconds in certain events in swimming. Like, you're like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And there's other things that go into it too. I was very upset about the Olympics when they pulled out these female athletes from running the 400 meter because their natural testosterone levels were too high and they got disqualified. And there could potentially a racial component there. The other athletes had complained, so like there's like these like I'll call them white counterparts. They were like, well, this isn't fair, they should be tested and their testosterone levels too high, and then they wound up not being able to compete. And he's like, they're
man spreading in the locker room. That's how I know. I can see the testosterone.
And so I scratch my head over this and go like, that doesn't make any sense. But it begs an interesting question where it's like, well, is that the level? Is that the bar? Because you go, if they're cis women, but their natural testosterone levels are too high to compete in this, where do they go? Are they supposed to, are they then supposed to be competing with the men? And is testosterone levels ultimately going to be the decider of these things? If we're saying that gender is a construct and we don't want to go by those specific lines anymore, then is the solution down the road to be like, well, we're going to try to go by some kind of chemical makeup to do this?
Absolutely.
It makes sense to me to go down that path more. With that said, then I have to go one step further and go, yeah, but is that the be all end all when it comes to certain sports, like we just mentioned with swimming? Because we're like, well, maybe testosterone isn't the be all end all. Maybe your actual body mass, height, etc. Maybe that is the more important thing.
Maybe if you watch Gattaca, it's your will.
I didn't watch Gattaca.
I love Gattaca. That's a great movie.
Well, spoiler.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Rob. I don't know what the solution is, but it bothers me so much, not to the point where I'm like, we shouldn't talk about it.
And there are some people who may have half information who are getting some more information from us. Like some people didn't know that women have hollow bones. And now, thanks to Is This Anything, they've been educated.
I can't wait to Google this afterwards and find out that women do not have hollow bones. What the fuck, Brett?
Could I say one thing Batastic put in the chat that I liked?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Batastic said people ignore the fact that Leah did not just go from 500th rank in men's swimming to first in women's swimming overnight. She got better over time like many athletes do. She also loses a lot, which is true.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Would it be fair to boil down this discussion
a woman's hollow bones into like a soup?
Yeah, like a stew.
But it's not going to be tasty. They need the marrow for it to be tasty. Hollow bones taste good.
Damn it.
Would it be fair to argue it down to there are people who are going to use the fact that some of these things are the truth to argue in bad faith? And what Rob is saying is when I go, here's where you're right and here's where you're wrong, all of a sudden it takes the wind out of their sails. Because when somebody goes, oh, something that they're saying is right, I'm assuming the rest of what they're saying is right, then it's much easier for them to be persuaded by something that this person doesn't really care about and they're just using as a tactic to manipulate. But when you say, you're right about that, but you're wrong about this, which is where the analytical part comes in, then people start to think critically about what these people are saying. So if you're on the right and you're saying, well, there's a difference in biology and then also a bunch of things that aren't true, then all of a sudden you're like, people can be convinced easily. But if you go, well, there is a difference in biology, but not in this portion, and also here's an example of this and here's an example of that, then I think it makes it more difficult for dumb people to discuss and easier for smarter people to discuss and hopefully some more people to listen to who might not necessarily immediately critically think on those things.
I
Is that
completely
a-
agree.
that point.
I didn't boil it down as much as I wanted to, but
No, I love that.
I think it's
that's
great.
Very true. Definitely more.
Similar argument. All right, we see a trans woman dominating in this event, and suddenly we're like, okay, well, she was following the rules, but maybe there's something that we need to change about the rules because I don't know if it's fair for an athlete to come in and dominate by that much. Same argument for capitalism. Somebody makes $100 billion fairly, legally. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe we need to re-examine the rules then, because should a person be able to do that?
I totally agree.
I don't think so.
Actually,
Unless
I
they're
think that was-
trans, in which case let them do whatever they want.
I think that was
Oh,
Trump's
it's fun-
argument when he was asked about his taxes. He literally was talking. He's like, "You wrote the laws. Who cares?"
Well, that's a different because he broke the law like a lot, like a whole bunch of times in like every category. It is like, yes, I lied about how much the properties were worth when I was getting the loan. Yes, I lied about how much they were worth when I was paying taxes on them. Yes, I lied in that I didn't really pay the taxes, I just borrowed money from Russians in order to pay the tax. Yes, I lied. Yes, I broke this law, blah, blah, blah. Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, boy. Now we're getting into a whole other thing that pisses me off. Consequences. All right, guys.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Pod Saves America. We'll see you next week.
Who's ready to do some bits? To work on some
what we got to
bits?
remember to do is we got to ask people what they think their order is in the beginning of the episode.
Ooh, yeah.
That makes more sense.
So they have time to guess. But if you can get it real quick in here, what do you think the order will be today? Go for it. Your prize is accolade.
Bragging rights. All right.
We
It
got
is
a
time
JRB
to
from
guess
Dizzy.
the order. It's time to guess the order. If you guess the order, then you will be so fun. Everybody will be
We got a BJR
jealous.
from Grim Retails, and I
Everybody
think
will
Steel Mold's going to
about
win
you.
this because Steel Mold said
Holy-
Leedy is last in the order.
All right. Get your votes in. The order is a Rob Brett Jet. Brett Jarrett. Rob Brett Jarrett.
Ooh,
RBJ.
sorry to everybody
Rob Brett
playing at
Jarrett.
home,
RBJ.
But we will have no winners today except for Steel Mold, who is technically correct. And we love it technically correct.
Rob
Okay.
Brett Jarrett. That's the order for today.
All right. Take it away, Mr. Rob
right.
Ryan.
I had a quick idea. I saw a comic on stage still doing World War II jokes. What a hack. Jeez. We're already on to World War III. I wasn't sure if that tracks at all or whatever. There's just something funny about it to me where, like, once World War III starts, I mean, like, can't World War II finally be funny? Like, isn't that fine? It's an old war. I'm not even doing that one anymore.
Old War is a very funny thing to say.
Yeah, it wasn't immediately clear to me what you were saying. So I think you would actually say we're on World War III now, which is pretty scary. But the other day I heard a guy doing World War II jokes, and I was like, what a hack. You know, like that for me would have clinched it a little bit more.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because you're going from this serious thing to like, well, I still care about this guy doing shitty jokes. It seems like you're going to address the current scary future ahead of us.
Did that happen during World War II? Or people are like, well, I'm still talking about World War One, though.
I was actually
I
thinking
saw
about
a guy in the last 2 years. He did probably 25 minutes on Lorena Bobbitt's. So
Wow.
some people
That's
will
crazy.
just do that material if it works, regardless of relevance.
When a Titanic came out, but in 3D, I saw a comic and I was like, clearly he just dusted off his old Titanic material. He's like, oh yeah, now it's in 3D.
Did he just add 3D to his normal punchlines? He's like,
You guys ever seen Titanic 3D?
like, there was definitely enough room on that piece of wood for Jack, especially in 3D. You could definitely tell that there was enough room.
And Rose just throws that 3D necklace back into the ocean. Just keeps on saying 3D here and there. Okay, that was a little thing. If you have more on that, let me know. I've also got this little ditty. Have you ever heard that someone say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? Yes. That's not the definition of insanity. No one's ever said no dictionary, no psychological textbook. It's just not true. And when people keep telling me this over and over and over, I'm like, you're insane. This is stop saying something that's just fake. It drives me crazy. Anyway,
can I tell you? I think that came from a video game, from Far Cry. One of the Far Cries, a character said that, and I think that's when it became in the ether. And that, I mean, that irritates me to no end already, because to me that is the definition of stupidity. And so when I have definitely seen that and heard that outside of Far Cry, and I hate it. So, but I think that is funny. It's just, it might be funny if it drives you insane.
Yeah, I was wondering about whether it should drive me insane to hear it. That would make more sense.
Where I thought you were going with this was, they say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and that thing is saying you're Jesus Christ while jerking off in the bus stop.
And expecting different results.
expecting different results. That's great to define the thing. I really like that a lot. And I love the fact that, yes, like there are different things, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's stubbornness. That's stupidity. It's not insanity.
That's trying to fold a fitted sheet.
Maybe that came from like a gaslighty kind of boyfriend where the girlfriend keeps asking him to just, you know, pick up his clothes over and over and over. Like, you're insane. You're insane. You keep
You keep asking me to do this.
You keep asking
I
me to
keep
do
not doing it. You got to try a different tactic. You know,
you're obviously insane. I do like that tweak, Brett. That does make sense. I could be trying to say. I don't know why. It just it bothers me more than probably other people. But yeah, those are some of the jokes I had today.
Thank you, Leedy. It. It's catching.
You know what Leedy has done, and now has become a regular thing, is whenever there's an opportunity to fill it in, she'll go, touch peepees? Which I forget the specific reference, but it happened in one of our episodes at one point. I think Jarret did it.
It was in the high board game episode.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought so.
That makes sense. That tracks. And I was like, touch peepees. And Leedy was drawing something, and she just goes.
Well,
anything
yeah,
else
I think we could keep it short, since we had, we had a full Olympic marathon,
Olympic style marathon
with all genders competing,
represented. All right, great job, Brian. As long as you're okay with that.
Oh yeah.
I saw a face.
Great.
I wasn't sure if you were okay with it.
No,
right.
I was thinking. I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Next up, we got Albert Drug.
All right, I got a short one myself. I personally do not trust the Freemasons. I'm like, I have to sign up for a credit card or watch ads. I don't know. Are there any $4.99 a month Masons? That seems a little bit more legit to me.
Very funny. There's no such thing as a Freemasons. That's what I remember. My dad told me that.
Nothing in life is Freemasons.
What are the Freemasons exactly?
I watched a YouTube video because I was like, I think it's gonna be my joke tomorrow. And then I was like, while we were driving to my dad's, I was like, maybe I'll just find out what the Freemasons are. They are a secret society that is supposed to be. They have very secret protocols, and there's nothing particularly like universally followed credence for all the stonemasons, but it is about decorum and having a lot of ceremonies to graduate. It originally was about becoming a good stone worker, literally becoming a stonemason, and then graduating to stonemason, where you were respected. But it's a lot of like members have to stand here in relation to the master stone, the master mason and stuff like that. But it's a lot of secretive, and because it's secretive and you're not allowed to tell anybody who isn't a stonemason, you're not allowed to talk about it with them, that has led to a lot of conspiracy theories, and because they have a lot of symbols and stuff like that. But it's really just a club to be like, hey, we're in this club.
Oh, that's cool.
Heavily referenced in the Stonecutters episode of The Simpsons.
That's all I really had. I don't know if there's much more to it. I know there are a lot of conspiracy theories that surround it.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about the Freemasons. It seems like that's a great way to get into everything you just said was very interesting to me.
Well, you said you were worried they're going to ask for your credit card. You're going to forget to cancel your Masons membership. They're probably data mining, something like that. I'm trying to think of all the other free.
They're probably selling. Yeah, they're selling your information
right.
to other people.
Ads
Free trial Masons. I would. That seems like a viable business strategy, but I don't trust it when there's no money coming in.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of in-app purchases that you have to do.
Right.
Probably only can unlock certain part of the masonry and other parts.
And really, all I want to do is sacrifice a bunch of virgins.
They say that, but they never talk about that loser 42-year-old man living in his mom's basement. Like that's not I want to see that sacrificed more.
Yeah, why is it always a hot young woman? You know what I mean?
That's dumb. It should just be like a loser 38-year-old who's just like, you're like, sorry, God needs you.
His blood is pure. This is purity.
Pure nacho cheese.
That's really funny.
The problem is they're still a virgin, but they just got way too much sodium in their bodies. The gods hate that.
If this was 2004, that would be my joke to be like, oh yeah, a terrorist goes to heaven and it's just 72 fucking losers. Right. Just welcome. They're playing
Warcraft.
Playing Warcraft. Like, what? But I thought, I didn't specify. Read that Quran again, buddy.
Hey, if you
I'm sure there's
hanging
one
out,
terrorist that's like, I get to fuck all these guys.
I don't know if it says that he gets to fuck them necessarily. You just get them.
Oh.
You just have them. All right, you video game playing bros, you're mine now. Let's play some video games.
You're in my guild.
No girls allowed.
Keeping these jokes short because we went long on politics.
Yeah, boy, did we. Sorry, folks. That's what you get
I'm
today.
not sorry at all. I enjoy it.
Oh, good. Me too. I can say something funny in the meantime. Maybe it's funny. Here's another joke. It's funny the Philadelphia is really Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I never think because those two words don't in my brain go together. When I think Philadelphia, I'm like, oh, cool city things. I think Pennsylvania, I'm like Hicktown, bums,
racism,
poor people, racism. Right. But so when I hear Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I'm like, that's two different things you just said.
Interesting.
Just a thought.
Well, great job, Brett Druck.
On the inverse, when somebody's like New York, I'm like, oh, New York City. But then you go to
Albany or
Albany, New York, and you're
Buffalo.
like, oh, Hicks and Forgetix and yeah.
That's true. I guess it's true everywhere. But first,
I'm
not gonna say it.
I feel like we're a little out of whack today, guys.
we're off kilter.
A little bit of a vibe shift that's happened. This Zoom delay has got a little extra today.
I think it's because Rob wasn't at your party.
That makes a lot of
I'm
sense.
not on the same.
Yeah, me, Brett, and Leedy have grown so much closer together from this experience.
Touch
penis touch. They touch penises.
Touch peepees.
You guys touch peepees?
Yeah,
it's called penis fencing in the scientific.
That's why I was so vague about what we were doing at the party. I was just like, if I say you're coming to my party to touch peepees, then you're not gonna come to the party. But if you're there,
you're gonna. If I tell you it's my birthday, you're gonna come and you're just gonna feel obligated to touch peepees. And I want you to do it because you want to do it.
I want you to want to touch peepees. If you're into touching peepees, then you gotta sign up for our Patreon. Patreon.com/ITA pod. Best exclusive content in the game. We got kids on bikes. We got story time. We got at the boobies. We got the high riding challenges. Maybe we touch peepees. Maybe we don't. That could be at a higher tier. There are higher tiers.
Patreon episodes.
Patreon.com/ITA pod. And next up we got Jarret. I was reading this book about World War II, and there was this interrogator for the Nazis who got a lot of information out of captured Americans by just being respectful, not torturing. And the book says that because of the respect that he showed to the prisoners, he was able to retire in California after the war and become an artist for Disney. And when I heard that, I was like, I don't know if working for Walt Disney is the Nazi redemption story that you think it is. I'd be surprised if Walt Disney even knew that this guy was an artist when he hired him. He probably just heard Nazi and was like, Willkommen, welcome, come to the party. You're hired. All right, that's what I got. What do you guys think?
I like it. I would like for you to touch a little bit more on it, because I don't know if it's common knowledge that Walt Disney
Hated Jews.
Yeah, did not like Jews. And I think that there's a lot of room in there to play with stuff, like the old rides that they had before Walt Disney passed. I think you could play around with that, like, pin the
nose on the
money
Jew.
on the Jew. Yeah, pin the nose on the Jew or whatever things.
Pin the money on the Jew is a terrible game because they love it anywhere. Everybody wins if you put the money on the Jew.
I think you missed a spot on my back.
All right. Anything else for that, guys?
I think you're burying the lead a little bit. The first thing you said is super fascinating. I would love to know more about the interrogator who is just nice to the people that to the POWs. Like
that's
not
super rare.
To me.
That's the CIA studied that guy, and that's one of the reasons why torture is so not only looked down upon from being not humanitarian, being a human rights violation, but also just completely ineffective. When being nice, you get so much more valuable information out of people.
That's why we did so good in Guantanamo Bay. Like that's why we learned.
That's why we did
all the good things.
That's why we did so good in Guantanamo Bay.
That's why we learned all those things in Abu Ghraib.
Learned so many things in Guantanamo Bay. Oh my God, so much incredible information came out of Guantanamo Bay.
Or after World War II? I don't remember.
I can't tell which one of us. I can't tell if we're being sarcastic in the same way, Rob, because I know what I'm trying to say.
What I'm saying is that you said the CIA learned this after World War II.
They did. They did.
No, they did not learn.
They learned it. They learned it. They just decided to not do it afterwards.
Quit talking about World War II, you hacks. Move on.
Leedy with the callback of the century. Yeah, I worry that because the thing that I think is funny about it is if it's not front of mind that Walt Disney hated Jews, reminding people of it by saying, I don't think working for Walt Disney's a Nazi redemption story that you think it is. That to me is the funny part. But if I outline that beforehand, I don't know if that has the same punch. But if that's too much of a stretch, then I could do something else.
Well, you should definitely, just see if audiences like it. It's always hard to know if audiences pick up on that. And sometimes what I'll do in that situation where I think that I am offering new information to people is I'll kind of like take the air out of the punchline that I think 20 or 30 or 40% of the audience might get, and then me just laying it out for people, because I think Brett's discussed this before too, or like, audiences, they want to go along to get along, and people don't like feeling stupid either. So if you say something with that level of conviction, their brains are going to be like kind of peaked to be like, wait a minute, was Walt Disney or not? And then you could kind of just drop the hammer immediately after and just be like, it's not the redemption story that you think it is. He famously hated Jews. Like, you can just kind of get right into it. People will still laugh at your first line who are supposed to, and then you provide cover for yourself on the second part.
Right.
And that's how I usually tackle those ones. And you know me, I like to say shit that people don't know and understand and care about. So I'm in this situation
for a long time, Rob.
So I'm in this situation a lot on stage where I'm like, what? Why don't you like this? Why aren't you interested in what I'm interested in? But yeah, I love the World War II thing. That's so fun. There's something just fun about like the concept of being nice. Like, there is some smoke and mirrors there, but being nice is just like, I don't know, take it to its extreme. Like he's a POW. He's still someone who is against you in this war. Was earlier that day just shooting at you. Maybe he got a shot off. He was like, hey man, hey buddy, you want some iced tea or something? You want like lemonade? Just
far away were you when you tagged? That's impressive. That is.
Yeah. So,
and you did it with that? No sniper rifle even? Oh boy!
You enjoying that steak? You know who loved that steak? My friend who you murdered. He's gone.
Buddy story, you're eating his rations right now. So, but I
figured it's fine. It's cool. I'm cool with it. If you're
what am I going to do? Bury it with him? Along with the letter that I have to give his dad now.
So whatever. Anyway, where are those troop deployments? You see, that's comedy.
That's how you do it.
Good night, everybody.
Touching peepees.
Hey, that's being pretty nice. Touching peepees.
Speaking of peepees, let's talk about trans people.
Yes.
All right. So let me take a quick vote Another short one or end the episode super early? What are we thinking?
Short one.
All right.
Short one.
I heard one vote. That's all I needed. Okay.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you guys
whatever Rob went with.
I'm gonna tell you guys about the most accidentally cool thing I ever did. One time, years ago, I showed up to a bar at 3:00 in the morning to meet up with a girl that I was seeing. I give my ID to the bouncer, and he goes, "It's 3 a.m., dude. What are you gonna do? You're just gonna walk in, grab a girl, and walk out?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm just meeting up with some friends." I go in. The girl I'm seeing is a little drunk, and she's like, "Finally, let's get out of here." So I leave with her, and I just hear the bouncer go, "Motherfucker."
Oh my god, that is so funny. I love the stories where, because like it really happened, there's nothing else more to say about it. Technically, you don't even get the punchline that the guy did, if this really went down exactly the way you said it did. And occasionally I like those kinds of stories where you're like, hey, I'm just a funny guy telling a funny story. I'm not trying to pretend like I came up with something clever there.
I feel still you think you could put legs on it if you can say, and ever since then I've been trying to recreate that moment. I can failed attempts.
Ooh, that's really funny. Yeah. Every girl I date from now on, I'm like, "You want to meet up at like 3:00 in the morning?" They're like, "No. What are you talking about? We're 40. What is the matter with you?" Come on. I show up to a bar at 3:00 in the morning. Bouncer looks at my ID. He's like, "All right, man, get in." I'm like, "You don't want to say anything about how weird it is that I'm just here right now, at this time of night?"
They don't pay me enough, man.
That's really funny. And you know what? I actually, if we're talking about, comedy theory, it is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine when a comedian's joke is just a funny thing that happened and there is no artistry on it. There's so many times when I'm watching stand up and somebody says something and then, the punchline is just the comic going, "Okay," like that. Right. And I'm like, where's the joke? Man, I know your mom said something funny, but where's the joke?
Yeah.
Right. I love it when comedians do that. I love a good story. I don't care if it's clever.
I like when they gossip.
All right. And my next joke, you know who's hooking up right now? All right. Well, thanks so much for the notes, everybody, on my bits. Thank you for
Well, hold on. I still also I want to explore what this bouncer thinks a little bit more. Is another avenue you can go down. If he's like, if he's tried that or something like that. I feel like there's more to explore with this bouncer and his reaction.
Does the bouncer think, "Oh my God, does whatever I say come true?"
Yeah, right.
I like that. Like usually when you leave a bar or a nightclub, more specifically, the bouncer just famously does not remember you or pretends not to. So it's kind of funny that he actually did remember you, because usually when you leave a bar, it's like, "Excuse me," you're like, I just came in. I need your ID. But this guy, he knew he remembered you. You could go back to that place and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, come on in.
Hide your women, everybody."
Or if there's some way that you can like keep messing with him, like whatever if you could somehow plan it out so that you're just doing more unbelievable things, whatever he says when you come in.
Next time I go, he's like, "What are you gonna do? Grab 2 women and just walk out?"
And Jarret's, "Oh God, I gotta go in there." Yeah, I love trying to recreate the moment, one up yourself on those things. Yeah, that concept makes me laugh a lot. Okay. "Hey, do you want to get out of here? Do you want to get out of here right now?" No, you just got here. Let's get a drink. "No, come on, we gotta get out of here."
I'm just trying to think of like if maybe you come in at noon or something like that, and he's like, "It's a little early," and you're like, "I'm on the prowl."
Don't worry, I got you. But just as they're opening up, they're still sweeping the floor. Where the fuck did she even come from? That door was locked a second ago. Yeah, we got some meat on the bone. We got some things to play around with on that one.
All right, cool. Well, I enjoyed this episode, but before we end this episode, we have a very special time that Rob is going to sing about.
Ooh. Take your time, Rob.
Thanks,
I do
man.
like how Brett started this section was, well, I had a good time on this episode.
You know, not enough songs start with
I also think we should clarify, Rob, you don't have to sing a song.
No, you do. You
Not at
do.
all.
It's become a thing, but if you don't like it, then you don't have to do it.
No, he's got this.
I was thinking of the song.
I know you can. I know you have the ability to.
It's not like we've set a precedent that this song has to be amazing.
But listen,
No,
we were doing the
not at all.
catch up, and then months later, Rob's like, I hate it when people ask me about the catch up. So now we don't do that anymore. Same
that's true.
thing. Maybe Rob doesn't like making up songs about Leedy.
Is that correct?
No. I'm fully happy.
I thought that this is something
making up
you-
songs about Lady. Yeah.
Love
If you ever hate singing a song, someone just put a theme song they made for me in my Facebook group, so we can
Whoa.
always use that.
Whoa! I would love to hear that next time. And slap it on. We could have our own little section in graphics.
All right.
Clap it on.
Lady song time. Lady is gonna draw some pictures, and hopefully we enjoy them. It's been a while. It's been 2 hours of us potting, so now we're gonna end it with Leedy's drawing.
Ooh, I liked it. It had a Leaving on a Jet Plane vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I was pulling from that melody.
It definitely has. I think every time Rob takes over the singing duties, it has a little bit of a Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood kind of a feel
Yeah.
where it's like very gentle and soothing. You know?
Yeah, and he's always taking off his shoes.
Well, all right. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Here we go. First up, I have a kind of unfinished one. Don't you want to say something about it?
Very, very fast, Leedy. Very
Thank
impressive.
you.
Excellent.
This is Jarret peering, longingly over the bouncer's shoulder, saying, "Don't you want to say something about how weird it is here at 3 a.m.?" with a bunch of question marks.
Next up, I have. Oh, I am in. What is it?
Bones.
I want Brett to keep on popping in.
Yeah, I sure hope that's every single thing.
But where is the hotel?
This is Jarret
Women of
pushing.
all votes! I knew it! Yeah!
Fuck yes.
Well,
I said it.
you go back
I
and
said it
describe the first one in order to describe
Oh,
the second
sorry.
one. So this
Describe
is
the first
Rob excitedly, "Oh, I am in," and then questioning what he's in for. Me popping in with "Women have hollow bones." And then the next one is Jarret pushing Rob blindfolded, saying, and Rob is, "Well, where's the hotel?" And then I pop in again with "Women have hollow bones."
And I have Jarret's party. Just down this alley.
Jarret's party. It's a dark stone alley, and then under the sign for Jarret's party in small letters it says "Women have hollow bones."
Lovely.
Then I've got now. Women.
This is Jarret creepily holding the now rock in front of his junk, and the other side of it says "Women have hollow bones."
And you look so creepy in that picture. Wow.
Well, that was the point.
Impressive.
Great.
That's how you looked in person.
Mhm. Well,
I
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
there for this, and
I
I'm
apologize.
so sad. I believe, last but not least, I have. Oh, higher power, please accept our sacrifice of this warrior.
It's a woman in a white dress pushing a guy with a flower crown over his head.
And he's eating a bag of chips called "Women Have Hollow Bones."
And he's a 42-year-old looking virgin type guy, and he's about to be pushed into this volcano. Excellent job, Leedy. Thank you so much.
So damn funny.
Leedy Corbin, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the socials under my name, Leedy Corbin, and I would love it if you would join my Patreon.
All right. Well, in that case,
Outro goes.
here. Wahoo! Ew. The other day,
All
Kirsten asked
right.
me if that was a song.
It is a song.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's the Mortal Kombat song. Yeah.
That is not the Mortal Kombat song.
Yes, it is.
It is not. It is not the Mortal Kombat song.
Y'all ready for
Yeah.
combat? Dude.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
That's the Mortal Kombat song.
That's a great song.
Oh man, it's too bad we rated already.
We're still recording though.
Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved, like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you gotta join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITAPod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.